Okay, I hope the screen is visible and I'm quite audible. Am I audible? Can anyone confirm? Yeah, we are working from college now, so my voice would be low. Just let me know if I'm not audible. Okay. Okay, fine. Yeah, 48 are present. Mm, Okay, let's start with the topic. Let's see if others are joining. Okay, so in today's class, we will be discussing um, the module 2, where we had left out SCR topic. So we'll discuss SCR today. So by the end of this class, you'll be able to describe the basic structure and operation of 4-layer diode, that is SCR, and describe the characteristic curve of SCR. All right. So before proceeding to that topic, directly diving into the topic, in the previous class, we had stopped at this problem, right? The application of transistor as a switch. Yeah, this was a question what we had taken down. Can anyone have you solved? Have you tried this problem? Let me ask particular person. Yeah. Let me ask Roshan Girish. Are you there? Roshan Girish. Roshan Girish. Are you there? Yeah, you are there. Can you give me the answers or give me the hint how to solve this problem? Roshan? Yeah. Can you explain how to proceed, how to solve this problem? You can unmute yourself and speak. Roshan, I want you to unmute and speak. Hello. Roshan, you are there. I know you are able to hear me. I want
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Can you
I was
explain?
finding my microphone, ma'am. It was not here.
Fine. Yeah, go ahead.
We need to find VC and IB, no, ma'am.
Yes, we see.
Yeah.
Just check the question. What is asked? For the following circuit values, determine the amplitude of the square wave input voltage
Yeah.
necessary to make the transistor saturates. So what is asked there? We need to find the value of the input voltage.
Yeah. So first we need to find IC, right, ma'am?
Correct.
So
Exactly
IC
correct.
is 32.3, ma'am.
No. I'm not asking you the answer. I want you to explain how do you calculate or come to that stage where you calculate a collector current. So in order
Uh,
to calculate IC, what should I do?
IC we need to apply the one formula, right, ma'am?
What is that formula?
VCC minus V LED, V of LED minus
No.
VCE by RC.
What is that formula or what is that equation? Where do you get that? Or how do you get
KVL
that?
equation, ma'am. KVL the
Exactly.
rule.
Exactly. Yes, you have to apply KVL to the output circuit, right?
Yeah.
So if you observe there, there is VCC at the output circuit.
Yeah,
Let
ma'am.
me, yeah, this is your output. Yeah, the whole circuit, this becomes the input circuit and this will be the output circuit. And if you observe here, you have VCC, you have drop across this RC, right? Which we can call it as ICRC. There will be drop across this LED, right? And there will be drop across the collector and emitter terminal here, right? So
Yeah.
when we apply KVL, what is that? KVL. Now tell me the KVL here, there. Apply KVL and tell me the equation.
Uh, IC
Apply
is
KVL. Yeah.
IC is equal to
Mm.
VCC minus
Mm.
V of LED
Yes.
minus VCE
Yes.
divided by RC.
Correct. Yeah. Uh, like if you go one step behind, what will be your KVL? Let me ask someone else. Okay. Ritin Shetty. Ritin Shetty, can you unmute and give me the KVL there?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me, what is the, how do you apply Kirchhoff voltage law to this output circuit?
9 minus
No, give me the equation first. Apply KVL and give me the expression. Just now Roshan gave the hint. That was the next step. I want you to apply KVL and give me the expression. Apply KVL, go in clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction according to your convenience and give me the expression here. You have 4 voltage drops here at this output terminal. Hello? Are you there, Ritin?
Yes, ma'am.
See, if you're not aware how to apply KVL, then how will you find the unknown parameter there? Which is unknown parameter? Can you tell me what is your unknown parameter there? What are you trying to calculate out of KVL? Okay, let me give you a hint here. I told you there are 4 voltage drops, right? There is VCC, there is drop across this RC, there is drop across this LED, and there will be drop across collector and emitter terminal. Okay, if we apply KVL, then the summation of all the voltage drops in the loop will be equal to 0, right? That is your KVL, right? And here we are trying to calculate the collector current, IC. Are you getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now give me the expression there. Already it has been told by Roshan. Roshan already gave you the expression. I want you to give the KVL there. Oh, okay. All right. So please work on that. You have to know how to apply KVL. All right. Please work on that. So observe here the expression here. VCC minus VLED minus VCE minus ICRC will be equal to 0. That will be your KVL. Okay. So the IC, the collector current, is what we want. So from this KVL expression, IC saturation collector current will be equal to VCC minus VLED minus VCE sat by RC, right? Substitute all the values there. All right. So we want to know what is the input voltage that is required so that the transistor will be in saturation mode, right? So if you observe the input here, if you recall this, the input is a square wave where the V in will be in 0th level for some instance and it will be at maximum level. So it keeps on changing, right? So we want when input, at what value of input the transistor will be in saturation mode. So we want this input voltage, right? So to calculate that, we also need what should be the base current, right? So going in a reverse order. So for particular value of V in, when you apply that, there will be base current, which will in turn make the transistor or keep the transistor in saturation mode. So that we want, what is the minimum base current required to keep the transistor in saturation mode? Yeah. So using this expression, IC IC sat by beta DC. So going in a reverse order there. So to first to calculate the input required, first you should know what is the minimum base current. So using this expression, you will find minimum base current required. For that, you have to calculate what is your collector current, IC sat. So to calculate IC sat, you go for KVL, applying KVL to your output loop. Okay, yeah. So I hope all of you have got this value. V in will be 4.96 volts. So if you recall in the previous class, I had told you, typically if you have a square wave, the zeroth level will be taken as 0 volts and the maximum value level will be taken as 5 volts. So if you observe the value, what you are getting here is 4.96, all right, approximately equal to 5 volts. So that is about this problem. Please mind you, this is a typical example where transistor is used as a switch. All right. Yes, Ashwija, yeah, you are giving all solutions there. Okay, so proceeding. So in the module 2, we had left out the SCR part. We had stopped the module at SCR. We stopped at CMOS and we came back to BJT, because BJT you should know the basic structure and working of the transistor. All right. So now, since we are now aware of the working of the transistor, now we'll go back to SCR, which is another device. The construction looks like this. It is a 4-layer. It is also called as 4-layer diode, and the symbol is represented here. Schematic symbol is here. So as you can observe, it is also a 3-terminal device. All right. It has anode, it has cathode, and it has one more terminal called gate. All right. So observe here, it is 4 layers. It is made of 4 layers, PN, 4 layers, which will constitute or which will give you 3 different junctions. Okay. Please take down quickly. And the symbol, this is your typical symbol of SCR, anode terminal, cathode terminal, and there will be gate. So if you have anything to talk to me, please unmute yourself and speak. All right. Okay. So to understand the construction of SCR, the name SCR stands for silicon controlled rectifier. Silicon controlled rectifier, because it is made of silicon material and its application is mainly of a rectification. All right. That's why it gets the name rectifier, and the output of the rectified output can be controlled. All right. That gives the name. It is controlled rectifier. As we move ahead in our discussion with the class, you will understand the working and how it gets the name there, controlled rectifier. All right. So first let us go through the construction part, and then we will understand why and how is it working as a controlled rectifier. Okay. So mainly this device, it is it has the name SCR, and it is also termed as thyristor. Okay. It gets the name thyristor, and it is mainly used in application where you have to go for power control, or say in applications where you want to control the intensity of lamp, so lamp dimmers, or if you have to control the speed of motors, or say ignition systems, or some charging circuits. So wherever you want to control the power that is fed to the load at the output of where this device is connected, in such situation where the load applied, the power applied to the load can be controlled using this device. So let us see how the working of this device is based on its construction part. So if you look at these 4 layers, there is PN, PN, right? So that you can imagine as 2 different transistors connected in this way. Can you identify the 2 transistors here? Can anyone answer? Identify the transistors here.
NPN, NPN.
Yeah, which is that is Q1. What type of transistor is that? And Q2, what type of transistor is Q2? Let me ask someone else. Ashwija, please keep quiet. Ashwija, keep quiet. Let me ask Lucky. Lucky, can you identify the transistors here? And identify the terminals of the 2 transistors. Lucky, can you unmute and speak? Yeah. Can you identify the transistors and their terminals, how they are connected? Most of the things are already named there. You should be able to identify the terminals now. What type of transistor is this Q1? Lucky, can you identify this transistor Q1? Is it NPN transistor or PNP transistor? Hello, hello, yeah. Yes, Lucky, yes, Lucky.
NPN.
I can hear my own voice.
NPN.
I think there is some problem with your, okay, NPN, correct. And Q2, I hope all of you are able to identify the Q2 transistor here is NPN. This is NPN and the Q1 is PNP. Is it correct? Yeah. Q1 is PNP and Q2 is NPN. And identify the terminals there. The anode terminal, which we said here, okay? So this is nothing but the emitter terminal of this PNP transistor, right? And this will be your collector. This is the base, all right? And the base is connected to the collector of NPN transistor, right? The collector and base of both the transistors are connected or tied together. And if you observe, the anode terminal of Q1 will be the emitter terminal of PNP transistor. And here it is the cathode terminal. So the construction part will be like this, 4 layer. If you take PN, 4 layers, then the 2 transistors are tied up or connected in this way. Observe the junctions there. Can anyone tell me which are these 3 junctions? The junctions named here as 1, 2, 3. Can you identify the junctions and let me know? PN junction 1. It is what type of junction here of this particular transistor? The first transistor Q1. No, my question is it base emitter transistor junction or collector base junction? Look at the transistor and see if I'm talking about PN junction 1 here, so which type of junction is it of this particular transistor, Q1? That's what I meant here. When you know the construction part and the connection of two transistors, base emitter, isn't it? So base emitter junction of PNP transistor is your PN junction 1, correct? And base emitter junction of Q2 will be your PN junction 3. And the junction PN junction 2, the name junction here, PN junction 2, is nothing but the collector base junction of both the transistors. So are you able to visualize and the connection of both the transistors here? So you have to apply the knowledge or the information what you have studied in the previous classes about BJT. Are you able to apply that? When we tie two different transistors like this, the first junction of this particular device, SCR, the first junction will be the base emitter junction of the first transistor, Q1, right? And the junction 3 here is nothing but base emitter junction of second transistor. And the base collector junction will be of both the transistors will be PN junction 2. So if you understand this, you will understand the working of SCR. Are you with me? Are you with me, all of you? Please take this construction and you have to visualize. Yes, please take this two transistor model. This is called the equivalent circuit of SCR, also called two transistor model of SCR.
And why are they grounded all connected directly?
Where here, this one, this is biasing. You can see here, this is bias, application of the external voltage that is used to bias this device, right? So this two grounds is nothing but a common ground, what you can take it as a in the circuit. It's nothing but common ground there to complete the circuit. The biasing voltage or the DC supply, what you can see here, it is nothing but what we are using it to bias. Remember the working of the transistor? First, take down this construction, two transistor model. I will explain the working. And let me know once you are done. As you take down the circuit, you should understand both the transistors there and their working. You have to visualize and try to recall the working of the two transistors. Are you done? Okay. So the working of this device, we can take it in different situation. As I told you here, this is your anode terminal, this is your cathode terminal, and there is one more terminal called gate. Okay, so the working of this device can be taken in two different cases. Case one, when there is no signal at the gate terminal. Okay, and the second case is when you apply some signal at the gate terminal. So what do I mean by that? Let me explain with this circuit. Observe here. This is your anode terminal, this is your cathode terminal, and this is your biasing circuit. And observe the gate terminal It is open. There is no voltage applied at the gate terminal. All right. So if you bias in this way, right? Observe here. This is your anode terminal where there is some voltage applied. This is your cathode terminal. All right. And gate is kept open. Now, understand the device with the different layers there, P and PN, and observe the different junctions, J1, J2, and J3. Now, if there is some voltage applied, what will happen? Can you analyze this? Observe the junctions J1, J2, and J3. You're applying voltage at anode terminal. You're making anode positive with respect to cathode. Yes, correct. Jason, you're right. Junction J1 will be forward bias. Is only junction J1 is forward bias? Observe. What about J2 and J3? J3 is also forward biased, isn't it? Yes, I'm getting the answers here. Observe. J1 is J2 will be reverse bias. Correct? So J1 and J3 will be forward biased and J2 will be reverse biased. So will the device be conducting? What is this situation? Will the device be conducting? Or is the device in on mode?
Actually, the diode is off. Diode is in off state.
Yeah. You should say it is a 4-layer diode, or you should use the name SCR. Okay, we are talking about SCR device. All right.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah, it should be 4-layer diode, or you better use SCR or thyristor. The name of the device is SCR or thyristor. Okay, we will stick to SCR. Now observe here, when there is voltage applied, all right, junction J1 and J3 will be forward bias, but J2 is reverse bias. So there is no free path for the charge carriers to move freely, right? So there is a depletion region which is barrier for the charges to flow. That means the device is not conducting. That means the device is in off state, right? Correct? So what will happen if I go on increasing this input voltage? Say I go on increasing this potential that is applied between anode and cathode. What will happen?
The resistance in SCR will increase.
Resistance will increase? Check your answer. If I go on increasing this voltage that I've applied here, this biasing voltage, what will happen to the junctions? Damage the diode? What do you mean by damage? So what will happen? What will happen to the junctions? Breakdown, right? There will be breakdown happening. What do you mean by breakdown here? The junction J2, right? Breakdowns means what? Now you have to apply all the information what you have studied in module 1, module 3, and module 4. If there is breakdown happening, that means this junction J2, the barrier at the J2 is removed, or the depletion region is removed there, it disappears. So what is happening? Depletion region is disappearing means what? Is it allowing the charges to move? Correct, right? Yeah. So there will be tremendous increase in the current, right? So there is a free path for the charges to flow. So the device enters into conduction mode. Do you agree with that? Okay. Now apply your knowledge there. This is your anode terminal. This is your cathode terminal. Initially you applied some small voltage. Okay. When you applied a small voltage, initially J1, J3 was forward biased, but J2 was reverse bias, so there was no free path for the charges to move. So the device was in off condition, right? So once you went on increasing, as you go on increasing this voltage, so there reaches a region or a situation where there is breakdown happening. So breakdown happening means what? This junction J2, the barrier at the junction J2 is removed, right? So there is free path for the charges to flow, which will eventually bring the device into conduction mode. Okay, that you can observe here in this graph. Observe here. So in the x-axis, we have VAK. VAK is what? The voltage applied across anode and cathode. All right. And in the y-axis, you have anode current. That is your output. Okay. So as you're increasing VAK, initially observe, as you're increasing VAK, anode current was zero. Zero in the sense, say minimum. Here, the graph is exaggerated to show you there is no, to show you how at the breakdown there is increase in the anode current. The graph is exaggerated there. So initially at the lower value of VAK, there would have been no anode current or the output current. But as you go on increasing the voltage applied across anode and cathode, when it reaches breakdown, this is the breakdown voltage, VBR, okay? Observe here. When you reach VAK at breakdown voltage, there is sudden increase in the anode current. There is also one more point you have to observe. Can anyone interpret this graph and tell me what is the condition of the voltage when there is increase in the anode current? Observe the graph and tell me, as there is increase in the anode current, what is the status or value of the voltage applied across anode and cathode? How do you interpret this graph? There is some dotted line there in the graph. So I want you to understand things. Ashwija, keep your answer for a minute. Let me see others if they're trying. Alvin D'Souza, you're trying to answer something? Can you interpret this graph?
It will decrease, ma'am. So because the dotted lines have decreased.
Come again. Your first part of your answer was correct. I didn't understand the second part of your answer. The voltage will decrease.
Yeah.
Can you be louder? I can't hear you clearly.
The voltage will be decreased, ma'am, because the graph is going backwards. After.
Why is that so? Why is that so? Why is it so? Can anyone justify? Near to zero. Okay. Why is it? Can anyone justify that? Can anyone justify? No. That is something regarding the working of the device there. Current is increasing from this point, right? Current is increasing. This is your anode current. And in the x-axis, you have VAK, voltage applied across anode and cathode. Now observe, after reaching this breakdown, current is increasing. Okay. What is the value of VAK? It should be somewhere here, right? That is what this curve indicates. All right. Now, to explain that, imagine you can consider the example of a switch. All right. If a switch is open, okay, tell me the status of voltage and current there. What will be the current if a switch is open? Will it be minimum or maximum? No current, right? So zero current, correct. What will be the voltage drop across the switch? Will it be minimum or maximum? Drop across the switch when the switch is open. What will be the status of the voltage across the switch when it is open? Will it be minimum or maximum? Drop across the switch, it is maximum, right? When voltage, yes, when there is no current, say minimum current, if the switch is open, yes, listen to me. If the switch is open, right, there is no current, I can also take it as minimum current, all right? Drop across it will be maximum, okay? The second situation is if a switch is closed. If the switch is closed, then the current will be flowing through, right? So the current will be maximum, all right? And the drop across it will be minimum, correct? Exactly correct. Yeah, Jason, you're right. Okay, so apply that here as well. Apply this information and keep that always in your mind. Whenever the switch is open, the current flowing through will be minimum or zero. The drop will be maximum. The voltage across it will be maximum. When the switch is closed, okay, current will be maximum and the drop across will be minimum. Okay, so if with that information, now come back here to this graph. As we said, as we are increasing the voltage applied across anode and cathode, once it reaches the breakdown, okay, so junction J2 is also now that a depletion region is removed, there is a breakdown happening, okay, so that allows the charges to flow through, so the device is now conducting. So when the device is conducting, current will be increasing, there is current flowing through, so that is indicated here, anode current is increasing. So once the anode current starts increasing, the drop across the device will be minimum. Okay, so that is indicated here with this dotted line. Got it? Are you with me? So initially, so how can we summarize this point? Initially, if VAK is less than VBR, VBR is your forward breakdown voltage. If VAK applied is less than VBR, the device is in off condition, right? Also, we can tell it as it is in a forward blocking region because there is no current and it is not conducting. So there is no current means it is in blocking region, forward blocking region. If VAK applied is greater than VBR, that is at VBR breakdown region, the device will move into conduction region. So that is indicated here in the different color codes. I hope you are able to interpret and understand that. Are you all getting me? Please note down those two key points. Write down in your notes. I just mentioned two important key points there.
Ma'am, can you repeat that once again?
Okay. So if the applied voltage across anode and cathode, if it is less than VBR, the device is in, the SCR will be in forward blocking region, or the SCR is in off state. If the applied voltage VAK, it is greater than VBR, which we call it as forward breakdown voltage, then SCR will move into forward conduction region, or SCR is on. Okay. Check the circuit. What you can understand here in this circuit? I hope you are noting down all the circuits also along with the discussion. The first case was when gate was kept open. And this is a case 2 when there is some positive voltage applied at gate terminal. Now pause here and think what happens if there is some voltage applied at gate terminal. What happens? Just think about it. Pause and think about with respect to the construction. If there is a voltage applied at gate terminal is the one where you have this p-type material, the third layer. Try to understand what happens. Are you all with me? Are you trying to analyze this? Try to analyze. What happens if there is some positive voltage applied at this terminal, gate terminal? What happens? Hello? Are you all there? Yeah. Now making gate terminal positive, what happens? I want you to analyze and think. Now initially this biasing will be there, that is you are applying some positive voltage across anode terminal with respect to cathode. Okay, so first case we understood what happens, keeping the gate open. Now if I make gate terminal positive, depletion region is formed. Ashwija, think about it. How do you justify that?
I'm like taking junction 3.
Sorry?
Like if we take junction 3, ma'am, and the holes will get repelled, right?
Yeah.
And subsequently the electrons will like they will attract. So like
Yes.
there will be recombination.
Correct. Correct. You are already near to the answer. Yes.
And like because of that, like there will be a like the barrier potential developed in that.
Will it develop or will it disappear? Now junction J2
Disappear.
was reversed by, yeah, Alvin D'Souza, correct. This is your junction J2, right? If you make this terminal, look at the gate terminal, it is near to the junction J2, right? All right. So keeping or making this gate terminal positive, as you said, the electrons from the either regions, N regions are getting attracted, right, towards this positive terminal, positive potential at the gate terminal. Okay, there is a more concentration of charges here. All right. So as you're making this gate terminal positive, since electrons are getting attracted to this positive terminal at the gate, right? So the depletion region at this junction J2 will disappear, right? Causing the charges to freely move. All right, are you with me? This is all summation of all the information what we have already discussed earlier. Now observe this. This is junction J1, this is junction J2, and this is junction J3. And the gate terminal is here, and you are making it positive. You are applying some positive voltage at the gate terminal. Okay. So by doing so, you are attracting the electrons from the either regions here. Okay. In turn, eventually, in other words to say, there is flow of current happening. Okay. There is a gate current flowing from this terminal, so which will cause the device to conduct. Now, from this graph, how will you interpret? So this is different condition of different gate currents. Observe here, this is gate current for one particular value. This is gate current of different value where IG1 is greater than IG0. Okay, and this is for the situation where the higher gate current, that is more gate current. What can you interpret from this graph? If I go on increasing gate current, all right, this is how the anode current is varying or increasing. What do you understand from this graph? Can anyone interpret this? IG0 is one value, IG1 is greater than IG0, IG2 is greater than IG1. And this is the graph where the anode current is increasing for different gate current. How do you interpret this graph?
Ma'am, the gate current, ma'am,
Yeah.
like from the graph, we can observe that the gate current actually controls the like forward breakdown region.
Okay. You're right, but the way you're putting across that point is not device will stop conducting. No, what is it? Jason, what did you say just now? Device will stop conducting at some point. No. See, the graph is indicating how the anode current is increasing, right? That means you're keeping the device in conduction mode. The device will conduct, and these graphs indicate for different value of gate current how the device is conducting. That is indicated here with the different curves here. Okay, let me help you with that. Does it mean that for different value of gate current, as I increase gate current, I can make the device conduct at lower value of VAK?
Yes, ma'am.
Observe that. I'll repeat. As I increase gate current, increasing gate current, will it make the device conduct faster? Are you able to understand that? Yes. Yeah, Jason, Kate, you're agreeing. Others, I don't know whether you are understanding this or not. I'll repeat. Now, we observe from the graph there, IG1 is greater than IG0. Okay, IG2 is greater than IG1. That means increasing gate current, will it make my device conduct faster? Yeah, you are agreeing? Yes. So that is the important point there. That is important point to observe there. That means the gate is the terminal which we can use it to control. Okay, how and when I want to make this device conduct. Got it? Okay. So applying this voltage at the gate terminal, there will be gate current, right? So based on the level of the gate current, or I will use it as a simple as some signal. Okay. The signal at the gate current, the signal at the gate terminal can be used to control when I want to make this device come into conduction mode. or when the SCR has to be in on state. Okay, so if you observe this graph, initially you have this forward blocking region, all right, and this is your forward conducting region, that is when your device is on, when your SCR is conducting. Okay, now with the different gate signal, it can be, you can understand that it has gate voltage or gate current. At different gate signal, I can control when to make this SCR turn on. Are you getting my point there? Okay, so the gate terminal is used as a controlling terminal, which is used to control the SCR to be in conduction region. Okay, yeah, I'm moving ahead out of time here. So all these are different important points here. So we have discussed what is forward breakdown voltage. We have understood what is holding current, but I have not clearly defined it. I will do it in the next class. So we have just now discussed the gate trigger current, IG, all right? And by now you should be able to understand what is forward blocking and reverse blocking regions. And the forward conduction region, you are already familiar now. Reverse breakdown voltage we'll discuss in the next class. Okay, so all these are important characteristics of SCR. I hope you have reached to some point where you've understood. In the next class, in the afternoon, 2 o'clock, I will take one more class. So we will continue with the working of SCR in detail. Okay? Okay, yes, fine. Yeah. So 2 o'clock, you will have one more basic electronic class. Okay, see you then. See you then. Yeah. Yeah, bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, bye.